Hello and welcome to Ode to Games. I'm Kevin Valley, joined alongside Logan Plant. How you doing, Logan?
Happy 4-year anniversary to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
All right.
I'm
you,
doing
you always
great.
you come up with something new every time
I do.
that I do not expect whatsoever.
Yeah, 4 years ago, Smash Bros. Was the same night as the Game Awards, and now here we are,
Okay.
going to talk about the Game Awards.
Yeah, let's get into the Game Awards. Unfortunately, I have horrible timing with this. I'm at work while this happens, so I was only able to catch glimpses of it with trailers and things on Twitter. But it seems like a fair amount of stuff happened.
Yeah,
Yeah, but let's get into some of these reveals that were there. Final Fantasy 16, June 22nd, 2023. I mean, it looks good. It looks flashy like the more recent Final Fantasies. It uses a similar combat style with that medieval setting that it's going for. Looks good. It looks like the last couple Final Fantasies. What did you think?
I just really, for me, this one depends on how the combat feels, because I tried some of 15. The combat felt very auto battle in a way I really didn't like. But then 7 remake, we both love that combat system. So for me, it all hinges on that. If it's closer to kind of 7s and more kind of player interaction with the fighting, I think it'll be great. If it's like 15, it might be a pass for me. But yeah, I've seen enough of this game. They've shown so much of it. I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
In
Nice to see
June, we're
them
getting
going
a
back.
Final Fantasy every 6 months starting this
Oh
month.
God.
Yeah,
We already don't have enough time for Crisis Core right now.
I know.
Where are we
Yeah.
going to be at come wintertime when
Yeah.
the next part of 7 comes out and
Yeah.
still trying to catch up on everything else?
And then we're Dragon Quest also. I don't know if you saw the headline this week that said that we're getting news on Dragon Quest 3 soon, the
I
HD
did see
2D
that.
remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm very excited about that game.
Haven't
And
heard a peep
trailers.
out of
I know.
those couple of Dragon Quest titles that we saw. How many? 2 years ago now?
That
How
was
long has it
like
been?
I had just moved into this apartment. That was like April 2021, so almost we're getting close to 2 years ago that we heard about those.
Not a peep. Not a peep
Yep,
since then. It'll
nothing.
be nice to hear something. But yeah,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, June 22nd. From Software has got Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. Looks like a mech game. I mean, with a lot of these trailers, you get cinematics, and I'm not familiar with this series, so I don't know
Mhm.
exactly what to expect. But it's a
This
nice
was like
CG
their big
trailer.
series before Dark Souls. Like that's what they were making like back in those days before the Souls series took off. Cool that they're returning to it. I'm surprised it's already coming next year. Like FromSoft makes games pretty dang quick. Like there's never really a long drought for them, which is pretty cool. But Jeff Keighley was like getting emotional when he was introducing this. He
Oh,
was like,
really?
"Yeah, it was a little funny." He was like, a studio that just pushes the boundaries every time they release a game, and he's like, and I'm just so lucky they chose to share their game here. And he was like crying, and I'm like, all
Oh,
right,
all right, Jeff.
Jeff loves FromSoft.
Yeah,
But they did win Game of the Year this year too.
that they did.
It's the second Game Awards they've won Game of the Year, because Sekiro won
Oh,
in
that's right. What year was that?
2018. No, 2019.
19?
19, yeah.
19.
Yep.
That's what God of War was.
Yeah, God of
God
War
of
was
War was 18.
2018, Zelda was 17, Overwatch was 16, Witcher was 15, Dragon Age Inquisition was 14,
Wow, how do you remember all these? We're getting
Last
to
of Us
Dragon Age
Part 2 was
Inquisition.
20, and 21 was, oh god, It Takes Two. Oh man.
Oh, disgusting. They have new merch. I saw that. If
I talked to
someone
Zach tonight, and he said he was going to buy me the elephant for
if
Christmas.
someone bought me the elephant, I would never talk to them again. Just straight up. Communication is cut off.
What if I bought you the elephant as a joke?
I apologize, but I have to stick by my original statement.
Okay, fair enough.
You can get me the shirt with the book, dude.
I
Then
hate
I'll
the
just
book,
be
dude.
really incredibly annoyed.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want merch, there you go. Hades 2 was announced. People love the original Hades, and this one's going to be coming in early access first. Never played Hades, but I'm
I
also
have
not
it.
really super into roguelikes, so I don't think it's my style of game. But it's cool for people that really like the first one. That game took off when it came out.
Did I talk about the roguelite I've been playing on the show last week? I don't think I mentioned it.
Last week, no, we didn't have time last week.
I bought Curse to Golf on sale
Oh,
on the Black Friday
yeah.
shop. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And it is really good. I really, really like it. It's super cool. But I don't really play roguelites either. I played Hades for a little bit and didn't get super into it. But
Yeah.
yeah, people went nuts for that game.
Yeah.
Sequel
It's
looked
back.
cool. Yeah.
Zach will be excited about this. Death Stranding 2 gets announced with another cinematic trailer. Always got to be a little bit cryptic with these things. Working title of DS2. Yeah, it's back. I mean, Hideo Kojima's been hyping this up for a while. He's been doing the Who Am I to posters, What Am I things. He's been hyping it up for a while. So it made sense that we'd be seeing it at the Game Awards, and here it is.
Yeah, and Norman Reedus spoiled it a few months ago too, when he was like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we're filming the sequel right now," and it's like, oh no, it's
Norman.
Yeah, he looks older. Sam Porter
lot
Bridges is
older,
looking a
yeah.
lot older.
Yeah.
This was a very Zach show. They had this. They had the Castlevania crossover with Dead Cells, which looks really cool. They had Tekken and Street Fighter. There was a lot of Zach stuff in this Game Awards show.
Too bad he's not here to talk about it, but
Not
I'm sure
here,
he's
no.
buying the elephant for you as we speak.
I hope not.
He's getting right on that.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk is getting its DLC, Phantom Liberty. We knew that already, but Idris Elba, otherwise known as Knuckles, is going to be in this.
That's
in
known
the
as
game.
Knuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, they're just breaking out the stars for Cyberpunk. Yeah, I'm surprised that you haven't gone back to try this one out, because you and Zach both were so excited about it, and then it was a broken disaster, but now it's a good game apparently, and neither of you guys went back.
Yeah. I mean, the bugs were bad, obviously,
Yeah.
and I had no intention of playing it while it was in that state. And then as I got further along and saw some of the things people were saying about it, it didn't really seem like the game that was initially talked about, which doesn't mean that the game itself is necessarily bad for the direction that it took, but I think it made me less interested in the game when I figured out the actual direction they were going for, rather than kind of that super open-ended RPG as it morphed into kind of an action game instead. I don't know. I don't know if I'll go back to it or not. Hopefully, at the very least, this DLC will be functional on launch.
Yeah, definitely. It's a next gen only thing, so
they smartly dropped last gen.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming out at some point. We've got Star Wars Jedi Survivor, March 17th release. Logan, you love the first game. How hyped are you for this one?
I am extremely hyped. It's kind of weird. I loved the first one back when I was still a Star Wars fan, and now I don't like Star Wars really. I'm such a jaded Star Wars fan. This is the only Star Wars thing I'm actively looking forward to anymore. But man, this sequel looks really, really cool. Really cool trailer. I'm hyped that this is a next-gen only release. I think that's exciting, given that the first one was pretty half-baked in a lot of technical ways on PS4 and Xbox One. So I'm excited to see how this thing performs on the next-gen hardware. I guess current-gen hardware. We're over 2 years in. But they showed some cool new combat stuff, like dual-wielding lightsabers is cool. Like using a stormtroopers, like a meat shield for other stormtroopers to shoot, and then you like force blast them out. So some cool changes in combat. Story looks cool because it's 5 years after the first one, so that'll be really interesting. They show some of the returning characters. Some new mysteries they're setting up. I'm super excited, and it's really soon. It's 3 months away. Yeah, that's a day one for me. I'm super hyped for that game.
That first one was your game of the year when it came out, right? Or one of them?
Yeah, it was between that and Luigi's Mansion. I really love both of those games, but they're very different. I think on the show I gave it to Luigi's Mansion because I hadn't finished Star Wars yet, and then I finished Star Wars in January, and I was like, yeah, that's my pick.
Swap back over.
Yeah.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
So that's out on March 17th. More Zach stuff. Street Fighter 6 releasing June 2nd.
This is an insane stretch because Zach and I have talked about playing the Suicide Squad game, which also was in this and got a May release date. Month of May. I'm not playing anything but Zelda.
something else is going to be happening.
In the month of May. And then Street Fighter's like a week after Suicide Squad, and then Final Fantasy is like 2 weeks after that. It's just a crazy, crazy summer we're lining up for.
You got to pick and choose, both for your time and for your wallet.
Yep.
You have to,
And I want to play Street Fighter 6, but I know there's going to be a championship edition in a year, and I
yeah,
know it's going to be $20 4 months after it comes out. But I also know that all the casuals will have fallen off by the time the game is cheap,
yeah.
and you'll just get
That's an
stomped if
issue.
you go online. So yeah, it's a toss up.
Yeah, and it's tough because if you're an early adopter to fighting games, you just have to pay more. You have to pay
And then
full
for the
MSRP
DLC,
for the
yeah,
game on release. You have to pay for all the DLC characters and the season pass that they have or whatever. But then if you hop in like a year later and get that championship edition that's maybe been out for a couple of months already and has already dropped to $40, that's a time
yeah,
to hop in. But then, like you said, yeah, the people who are still playing it are the people who have dedicated their lives in some way, shape, or form to that game over the past year or two.
yep. And you'll just get destroyed. But yeah, Street Fighter 6 looks really cool.
But it does
It
have the
looks
single
like a great
player
game.
content. So
Yes.
it's not like some fighting games where the online is basically what you have. It
Yeah.
seems like here, even if you hop in a little bit later, maybe the online scene's a little bit too far gone, that you'll still have a sizable single player campaign to play through.
Yeah.
That's June 2nd. Mario movie was there with a new clip. And this is actually the first full clip that we've seen, not just kind of a mishmash of different clips for these trailers. It shows Mario entering the Mushroom Kingdom and going through the warp pipes and things. And it's Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt's there some more.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, the vibe of the area and kind of the little details that they put into the movie are all quite good. I think it still kind of stands that besides Chris Pratt, everything else looks really good.
Yeah, he has the running animation that he has in 3D World, where his like hands are tucked by his waist, and he runs in that fashion, which is a cool touch. The clear pipes from 3D World too. I think the only thing that like feels just kind of like overdone to me is I feel like in a lot of adaptations, the main character, they can't have them know how to do anything yet. They have to learn through the first movie how to do things. Like the Uncharted movie, Nathan Drake, it was young Nate, and he had no experience and didn't know how to do anything and kept messing up. And a lot of the conflict and the issues they got into were kind of driven by Nate making a mistake and then the bad guys catching him or whatever. And then the first Sonic movie did that to some extent also. And then the Mario movie is like, oh, he doesn't know how to jump. He doesn't know how to get in the pipes. He's banging around while Toad's going through like a pro. And it's like, it's just a little bit tired to me. It's like, I feel like they could have written a story where Mario was just competent at the start instead of a fool. And it doesn't super bug me. It'll be fine. I just feel like in adaptations, that's kind of just what they always go for with the main character, if that makes sense.
I think Illumination also wants to do more kind of just slapstick sort of
Yeah, that's
humor,
fair.
and I think that it lends itself much more to that when you kind of have the clumsy dolt as the main character, at least for the
Mhm.
first movie. I don't know what happens at the end of this movie and moving forward if they want to make more,
I
but
guess I feel like Toad was going to be that. Like Keegan-Michael
yeah,
Key
it
as
could have
Toad.
been.
I thought that was what it was going to be. I thought he was going to be some of the more like physical humor. Or Luigi is that too in the scenes we see him with Bowser. But yeah, just everything. I love everything except Mario. Like
Which
I
is
love what
so
we saw.
unfortunate.
Uh-huh. I love what we saw Peach in the second trailer and her defending her kingdom and working with Mario and Toad to rescue Luigi. I think Luigi looks funny. I like the Mario Kart scene. I like the Donkey Kong redesign. It just all looks great. And then it's like, Mario just doesn't. It's the one thing I don't like.
The one whose namesake is in the title.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of that as we get closer to the release date in just a couple of months, coming out in the spring. Crazy that we're finally going to be able to actually see that movie.
I know. Yeah. Jeez.
Been talking about it for years.
Doesn't it just feel like next year is packed? There's so much going on
Yep.
in the first half of next year. It's just crazy.
Yep.
Like there's a major game every month that I want to play from January through June right now. And that's just crazy.
Yeah.
Except April, but April has the Mario movie. So
Well,
yeah.
basically a game, right?
Yep.
Horizon Forbidden West. I know, Logan, you're really excited for this.
Oh, yeah.
We have
yeah.
DLC. We had Frozen Wilds for the original, and we have Burning Shores here. This is going to be PS5 only. So people who played Forbidden West on PS4, sorry, PS5 only.
No DLC for you.
Yeah. on the one hand, I get it. We're 2 years in now, so I think that now is the time to be moving things over. But it seemed like Forbidden West ran pretty darn well. This isn't like a Cyberpunk situation where the game just could not function on last gen hardware. So a little bit surprising to me that they just completely omit PS4 for this one. But
I just wonder if that means they're doing something that's more ambitious with
Maybe.
this DLC, like a monster or something that they couldn't pull off with the old hardware. That'd be cool if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean,
are you gonna play this?
Probably not on launch, but at some point, I think. The monster, the mech that they showed off at the end behind the Hollywood sign looked cool. And
Yeah.
I think out of all the things in Horizon, just the big fights are always really fun. So I think I get some fun out of it, but I don't think it's a day one for me. I have so much else to play.
Yeah.
But at some point, I think I get around to it. Yeah.
I don't think I will ever play a Horizon game again.
No?
I'm done. No.
You're just gonna watch the movie, the show?
The show on Netflix? Is that where that one's going? I think so.
I'm lost. Yeah. There's so many adaptations. They're all coming to different places.
Twisted Metal's going to Peacock.
I haven't heard Peacock in quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't think anybody really talks
about
that.
The Knuckles show comes out next year.
Where's that?
Paramount Plus.
Oh, God. I don't have any of these.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a pain to try and keep up with all these. Crash, they were hinting at stuff before the Game Awards, and we get a 4v4 like a arena style fighter collectathon. It looks like, you've got 4 characters on each team, and you're going around collecting the Wumpa fruit, and you have to get them to the goal, or just kind of in a certain area. You got to bring them there, and you have to fight the other people to get there. I don't know. It's a 1-minute trailer, but yeah.
This game to me screams a Mario Strikers Battle League scenario where this online community is going to be dead within the first 2 weeks. I don't know. There's just too many online games these days. I don't see people playing Crash Team Rumble when there's Rocket League or other things like that sitting right there.
And it's always a concern if this is all that the game has. Like Strikers, there is no reason to go back because the only new additions were in the online. The online was basically that entire game. And if this is the same situation, that's just a hard sell. I think that if you can somehow, especially for a new, not necessarily new IP, but this is a new style of game from Crash. It's not like it's part of a running series from Crash, to have something to do besides the multiplayer in case that multiplayer does kind of flop, to give people something to do, because that is a little bit of a tough sell to have people be early adopters with the chance that it all just falls apart and no one's playing it in like a month.
Yeah.
Like I'm always a little bit apprehensive for those types of things. I got burned hard on Strikers, so I'm not doing it again.
That game's still supposed to get a 3rd free update before the end of this year.
Oh my God. I didn't realize it was supposed to come out this year. Do you think Nintendo also forgot about Strikers?
It's got to be next week, because they just did the Mario Kart this week. They did the Switch Sports Golf last week. So I think it'll be this week. Yeah. Who's it going to be? Who are the characters going to be that they'll throw into this thing? I've
forgotten who's been added.
They added Pauline, Diddy Kong, Shy Guy, and Daisy so far. Birdo? Birdo's not in the base roster, right? Get Birdo in there.
Okay.
Come on. Get Birdo in there. And
Monty
maybe like
Mole.
He is in the original. He's in the OG.
Monty Mole. Give me Monty Mole.
No, he's not in the OG. He's in charge, though. He's in charge.
He's one of the sidekicks.
Maybe like Bowser Jr. Could be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. None
of this matters. It's gonna come out and no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
Just like how it's been the last couple of months. Extremely OK Games is coming out with Earthblade in 2024.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the creators of Celeste. Logan, this looks a little bit different. It looks a little bit slower than Celeste. But what did you see from this as a huge Celeste fan?
Looked really cool. The music's by the same composer. It's the same game designers. I'm sure it's going to be really great. But yeah, they're going. I think they said after Celeste came out that the next thing they wanted to make would be more kind of exploration focused, maybe like a Metroidvania. So I think this is going to be a lot less linear than Celeste is, which is just very difficult platforming levels and more open exploration. Looks really cool. You could definitely tell looking at it that it was the same creators. Like it had that same art style, that same vibe. You could see some of the similar platforming challenges throughout. The 2024 date wasn't surprising, but still hurt a little bit because that feels really far
Long ways
away.
away.
Yeah, but cool to see it here. And yeah,
How do you
that's
feel
just how I
about
felt
the
about. Go
How do you
ahead.
feel about the change in styles though? Because I think knowing you, the style of game that Celeste is, where it is kind of these rooms as part of this linear hallway
Yeah.
forward, kind of lends itself better to the brutal nature of it because you don't have to go back a long ways if you die. Where I don't know if they're going for the exact same level of difficulty with this one, but if it's in that ballpark, do you think that's going to be kind of an issue if they try and open it up a little bit more for exploration?
Yeah, I feel like it won't be as difficult. Is kind of even just from the areas we saw, it didn't look like there was many like instant death spikes and things like that. So yeah, I don't think I'll like this as much as Celeste, just because that's really tailored to the type of game I like. But I think it could be really good. I do enjoy a Metroidvania if it's good. If I think it's good, like Metroid Dread, I really loved. So yeah, I like a Metroidvania if there's good movement involved. Celeste has great movement, so yeah, I think this game looks really cool.
And then last one that we're going to be talking about, Bayonetta Origins. This is
This
a
is so weird.
bizarre one. This is coming
Yeah.
out next year. And so this is a Bayonetta prequel spin-off with a storybook art style.
Like top-down action adventure?
It's weird.
$59, $59.99.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, if Bayonetta, the name wasn't there, you could have fooled me that this was like like an indie brawler or something, an indie exploration brawler in a storybook style. It, from what I saw, it did not feel like Bayonetta, or at least the first Bayonetta that we played. But
No,
maybe
not
that's
at
what
all.
they're going for. I don't know.
Another interesting thing I noticed here on the trailer is the splash screen at the end said Sega instead of Nintendo. And Nintendo published Bayonetta 3 and the 1 and 2 ports on Switch. Sega hasn't been involved with Bayonetta for a long time, since the original. So to see them publishing this instead of Nintendo, I thought was interesting.
Nintendo's not spending their time on this one.
No, not on this one. Yeah. But yeah, this game looks really, really random. Yeah, Cereza and the Lost Demon. Cereza is like the baby version of Bayonetta, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, weird. We learned that in Bayonetta 1 story. Yeah, we did.
I don't think I learned anything in
There was
Bayonetta
Chaos
1
Emeralds
story.
in that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there were. Basically,
Man,
yeah.
I don't remember any. I don't
And
remember any of
rings.
this.
Yeah, it was
Rings.
not. We did not like it. But
Yeah.
I think this was a good Game Awards overall. I really do, Kev. I think that a lot of times with Keeley's events, it's like games you will never think about again, of which there were some of those in this, or cool stuff with no dates. But this had big, high-profile stuff with dates. We got Street Fighter's dates, Suicide Squad's dates, Star Wars dates. I'm pretty sure we got Cyberpunk's date, and then big announcements like Hades 2, Death Stranding 2, like big stuff. Final Fantasy 16's date was new. So he got big dates for games that people care about, and some cool teases of some other stuff. Like the Horizon DLC, we hadn't seen that before. So I thought this was one of the strongest Game Award showings in a really long time. Maybe that I can remember. Like there's a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah. How did you feel about the runtime? Because
It was
sometimes
too
with
long.
these events, it is always kind of bloated.
Yep, it was too long. And he even said it's going to be shorter this year, but it was long. It was like, because the pre-show starts at 4:30, but they do world premieres and awards in the pre-show. So it's like, why do you even call it that?
Yeah.
And that started at 4:30, and then the show ended at 7:45. So it was 3 hours and 15 minutes.
3 hours? I thought they were shooting for 2.5.
Yeah.
Were they not?
Well, if you take out the pre-show, then it was 2:45, so they went 15 over. And
Without
Christopher
the
Judge's
pre-show.
speech was like 5 minutes longer than it should have been. So already there, you got you got some of your overage.
Man.
Yeah.
That is long.
Also, shout out to Splatoon 3 for winning Best Multiplayer. It was like one of the only things it was up for, and it won it. It beat like Call of Duty and all these other things. I was happy with that because it should have been nominated for more than it was.
Elden Ring Game of the Year?
Yeah, God of War was cleaning up all night. I was like, is it going to steal? Is it going to steal Game of the Year? And then Elden Ring swooped in and won Best Game Direction and Game of the Year at the end.
Not Xenoblade. Xenoblade didn't get anything, did it?
Nope. It was only nominated for 2. I think it was just RPG and Game of the Year, both of which went to Elden Ring.
Not music.
It wasn't nominated for music.
It wasn't nominated for music?
Nope. I'm pretty sure it was not.
What was?
Like Elden Ring and God of War. Like all the same stuff that's nominated for everything.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
No, it was. Best music.
Oh, okay. Okay, it did not
It
win
was
it.
Plague Tale, Elden Ring, God of War, Metal Hellsinger, and Xenoblade. And God
Okay.
of War won that.
Yep.
I mean, I knew Xenoblade wasn't going to win Game of the Year. There was no chance in that. But
No.
I felt like it had a really good shot at music. That's a little sad that it didn't win anything. But
Yeah. Kirby won Best Family Game. Which is a
Kirby.
weird category.
It's the Nintendo one.
Yeah, it's just, and Lego Star Wars.
And Lego games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's weird. I think it's a weird name for the category because it's like, really? You think Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope is a family game? That's like XCOM. That's a that's a strategy game. Like, I don't think a 3-year-old's going to like playing that.
Would you change it to, would you get rid of that category or just swap games around to different categories? Would you have a platformers category? I don't think there's enough games for that. Or
yeah. I don't know. I just think it's a weird category because even Splatoon doesn't have multiplayer locally. Like a family isn't going to gather around on their one Switch and play Splatoon.
I mean, I guess
family
in the sense of best kid friendly.
Yeah, family friendly.
Yeah.
Like
E for everyone.
Yeah.
The E for everyone category.
Basically the Nintendo category. But I just feel like the existence of that category then snubs those games from appearing elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really believe Splatoon should have been a Game of the Year candidate.
It happens with movies with best animated feature. And it's almost like they just kind of throw that a bone as if the best animated feature couldn't also be the best movie of the year. I feel like it's the same thing. The same thing here. They're like, oh yeah, it's best family game. Couldn't be best game of the. It couldn't be game of the year. There's no way of that happening. No, but for family games, sure, why not?
Like I think Super Mario Odyssey won best family game, and I'm like, okay, sure. It didn't win Game of the Year, but it was nominated, and Zelda won. But yeah, weird. I don't get that category.
Yeah. That is the Game of the Year, a Game of the Year and Game of the Year award show for 2022. Now, of course, that's not the true
one
crowning of the best game of the year. That'll be in very soon with the annual Odies Awards. So look forward to that. So, I mean, this was the 3-hour pre-show to
the Odies. I'm excited. It's weird though. I was thinking about this, Kevin, and I'm like, I'm trying to put together my top 5 for the year, and there's like 3 games come out this month that realistically would have a shot at cracking into that top 5, and it's just like, what is the deal with December, man? Like, I'm not going to have time to play Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, and Sports Story before the Odies.
Well, it's even more frustrating with Sports Story because we don't know when it's coming out this month. At the very least, if we knew, then we could know, like, oh, we're going to have no chance to play this before we rank them. But we could. It could be out tomorrow.
Yep.
It could just be here.
Yep.
Every day.
Oh.
I was hoping for it to make some sort of appearance there at the Game Awards. It was not there.
I hope it's out tomorrow because I'm taking the day off tomorrow, and I would love if that just popped up on the eShop tomorrow morning.
Happy Friday, everybody. Sports Story is out.
Yeah.
Lose my mind.
That would be so awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, Odies. Look forward to that. The true Game of the Year will be crowned. The true Odie Award winner will be.
And it will not be Horizon.
No, it'll be the DLC. That'll be the winner.
It
also won't be God of War. So
no, neither of us played it. I'm just gonna make a prediction that I think next year could be the best gaming year of my life. I really do, in terms of new releases, because I don't think 2017 will ever be topped in terms of new and old releases.
Just comes all together, and that's a new console too.
Yeah, but that's also when I got the PS4 and played Uncharted and Last of Us for the first time. Like, that year won't be topped, but in terms of new games I'm looking at next year, it's like, whew, like Star Wars and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Zelda and Fire Emblem looks awesome, and a ton of other things I'm interested in. It's like, man, it could be a big one.
Should be a good year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I'm just counting down the days to Ishin coming out in February.
Yeah, February.
Super hyped. And that's going to be here before I know it. I'm going to be playing Sports Story, and then boom, it's going to be out.
Yep.
Xenoblade, oh god.
hmm I know.
Just
I'm
about to hit the
buying.
40-hour mark.
I'm getting really excited for Fire Emblem, and it's like that is a month away. That is 1 month and like 10 days away,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Why don't we get into talking about some games that are already out? One with new content, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Wave 3 is out. We've got the 8 new tracks alongside some interesting free update content as well.
Yeah.
Before we get into the actual tracks, let's get into the free update that any owner of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe could download and get. So first, they finally give us the ability to choose the items that we want to race with. It's not just previously, oh, frantic items, normal items are off. Now you can decide, I want these specific items. I only want blue shells. I want to die. Uh, it, I haven't gotten a chance to get together with a group of friends and try it out, but it seems like it could just be absolute mayhem, or just even some like interesting style of races, like, oh, shells only race or something like that. I am surprised that it took this long to get here, but I'm glad that it got in before support for Deluxe ended.
Yeah, and another cool thing you can do is if you're playing a team race, the red team versus blue team, you can set which items each team has. So it's like, okay, red team has like boomerangs and blue team has fire flower. Let's
That's
see who
cool.
wins.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I think, Kev, this was on my wish list for what I want in the next Mario Kart back when we did this, because
When did
I've
we
been
do
asking for
that?
this a while ago. I don't remember when, but I've wanted this for years and years and years, because it's like Smash Brothers, where you can toggle up every individual item. It just made so much sense for Mario Kart. I'm really glad it's finally here. I think a difference though with Smash Brothers is like, oh, turn off the ones you hate. Oh, let's just do a Pokemon battle. Where in Mario Kart, it's like, okay, how severely can we break the game? Which
Yeah,
is
all
pretty
the blue
entertaining.
shells. I saw one with bombs where the guy was driving and just like 8 bombs showed up in front of him all at once.
I did a race where I've only messed around with it for a little bit, but I did a race. I did 200cc baby park bullet bills only, and we were
Oh
just
my god. Was that
it
race
was
over in just like 2
it
seconds?
was pretty insane. Yeah, it was awesome.
But see, that's
Yeah,
the fun of it. It doesn't need to make sense. I
yeah.
think this is just there to have fun with a group of people. And I'm just glad that they decided to put that in there. Like
And
it doesn't make the most sense, but you can just have so much fun with different builds and different styles of races.
And something I found with Mario Kart is coming back to the new tracks doesn't keep people around for that long. It's like, oh, those are fun, and then you put it back down. But this is something where it's like new tracks. It's just like it's still Mario Kart, right? It's still Mario Kart racing. But when you get this item options, it's like you can really do things you've never done in the last 8 years of this game being on the market, and it can really give you some more hours out of this thing. Like, oh, let's do a race with blue shells only, and then it's like a fight to see who can't
Survives.
doesn't get in first until the very end, where you
Yeah.
squeak by. Like, just funny stuff like that I think will really like freshen up the game. Where it's like, yeah, you do your serious races. It's like, okay, let's have some fun. Let's mess around and see what we can do. And that's something I'm really looking forward to. And also, like, I hope that this means maybe they're working on some other things too that can go in this, like maybe some new characters or something like that would just be a game changer.
Because we still got more waves to go after this.
Yep.
Another interesting change, the lightning doesn't cancel your glider anymore, which
I don't
is
like it.
crazy.
I don't like it because this is just a huge change. It used to be a strategy on online play. I play a lot of online Mario Kart. If you're in the back, you wait until people are over the jumps on these things and then you zap them,
And
so
then
then you can make
yeah,
up ground. It's a huge advantage. But this, if you're in the air with the glider, it's an advantage when you get struck by lightning, because when you're on the ground and you get struck, you come to a complete halt and then you have to get your acceleration back up. But when you're struck by lightning now with the glider, you get small, but your acceleration doesn't slow at all. So
until
it's
you get to
like,
the
yeah,
ground.
yeah. So I don't really like it. I don't like the
That could be
change.
it.
I
That
don't know
could have
why
been
they did it.
interesting if they slowed you down as well, so you couldn't make it over the gap anymore because you didn't have enough speed
Yeah.
because you're small. But
Yeah.
if the speed stays the same until you hit the ground, then yeah, that completely turns it opposite from what it was before, where it's a death sentence if you're going over a jump and then the lightning strikes. But here it's like, oh, okay,
It's also like, why did they make this change now? Gosh, this
yeah,
game came
this
out eight
yeah,
and a half
weird,
years ago. It's
yeah.
so weird to me.
some interesting little changes. You had that. You have changes to the time of invincibility based on certain builds of carts.
Yep.
Like, just why? Why are we
Yeah.
doing that now? It's interesting.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. So some cool additions, some not as cool additions, but let's get into the actual cups and tracks. You have the Rock Cup and the Moon Cup. In the Rock Cup, we've got London Loop from Tour, Boo Lake from GBA, Rock Mountain from 3DS, and Maple Treeway from Wii. And then for the Moon Cup, you've got Berlin Byways from Tour, Peach Gardens from DS, Merry Mountain, and 3DS Rainbow Road.
The Mare Mountain's from Tour, even if they don't label it like that. I'm not letting them get away with it. It's from Tour. I don't know why they do that with one track per wave.
They got to throw you off. This
Yeah.
isn't Tour. This isn't, you're not globe trotting in this track. You're going to meet Santa Claus. That's not, that's not in Mario Kart Tour. I think from these sets of tracks, one, love Maple Treeway. It was great to go back and play Maple Treeway again. Two, I kind of forget that Mario Kart 3DS exists because I kind of had more fun with Rock Mountain than I thought I was going to. That was a fun track for me.
Good track.
And then Rainbow Road 3DS blew me away. I think it was great.
Yes. That's probably my favorite Rainbow Road. I love the music on it too. It's my favorite arrangement of the Rainbow Road theme. And I've always been a Rock Mountain fan. It's kind of in 7, it's like the first main track that focuses on hang gliding, which was a new mechanic in that game. And I think it's fun how much time you spend on the glider. Yeah, I love Mario Kart 7. I think that's a kind of an underrated Mario Kart because it sold well. Like, it's one of the best-selling games on 3DS, but just because the 3DS didn't sell as well as the Switch or the Wii or the DS, I think people remember Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart DS, and Mario Kart 8 more than Mario Kart 7, which has some amazing tracks, like really, really good tracks in that game.
Well, I think with some of the new things that 7 brought to the table, specifically with the hang glider, I think it was just kind of perfected and put all together into one package in Mario Kart 8. So I feel like it's a little bit easier to kind of forget about Mario Kart 7 a little bit, especially when Mario Kart 8 came to Wii U relatively soon after or around the same time.
Yeah, it was soon after. It was like 2.5 years after. Yeah.
But considering that we haven't had a new Mario Kart since then, Mario Kart 8 has had a lot more time to stew.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun with these tracks. The tour tracks, I enjoyed them well enough. It's interesting doing these races and then getting used to how the track changes as you're going between the laps. And then I swap to the different tracks and I'm trying to be like, all right, how's it going to change? And then it doesn't. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I did forget that Peach Gardens swapped, or is that new?
That's new. That's new in this version. Yeah.
Then I didn't
the third lap flips you around. The tour tracks, it worked for me in some of the earlier waves, like Tokyo Blur is excuse me. Tokyo Blur is really easy to kind of figure out the 3 different laps that you go on throughout the race, but Berlin Byways and London Loop, the mini map is like just a freaking disaster of pathways. I have no idea what lap is what yet. Maybe I will over time, but it's pretty jumbled. But I think it's fun. I think it's a fun shakeup for the series, I think.
It's nice to have the feeling of going through these races and not knowing the tracks.
Yeah, and I like Merry Mountain too. I like that
Merry
one.
Mountain
I like
was fun.
the elevation in that one, how high you drive up, and then it's like a ski lift almost. You drive all the way up to the top and then shoot down the snowy hill. It's a cool
opposite one. Or a different pass that you can take. You can either go up the snow part or you can take the railroad tracks on the side.
Yep.
Yeah, it was fun. It's always a fun experience doing these new tracks, having no idea what's going to happen, and then you get splooged with the ink. It's like, I have no idea where I'm going. What am I going to do? Yeah. Like, I don't know these tracks at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was a really strong wave. One of the tops, to be honest. I mean, it also helps that we got a bunch of other new features alongside it as well to kind of make it that much more memorable. But man, I don't think there was really like a stinker in here. Like, Boo Lake is simple, but I also think it is miles better and way more interesting than Toad Circuit was or anything like that. Like, there's something to do on there. There's some little things to make it interesting, you know, going underwater and just have possibly falling off the track at all these different points. Like, there's something going on there.
Yeah.
I thought that everything in this was either fine or really good.
Yeah, I kind of think the three waves are all pretty equal to me, and I think it's intentional. Like we talked about this, I think after wave two, that it basically had the same layout as wave one, and wave three has since followed that pattern again, where it's like, okay, you have two city tracks from tour, and then you have the tour track that they're pretending is not from tour,
Is a whole new track.
and then you have like a mix of like GBA and DS ones, like some of the more simple ones, and then you have like the one people wanted to come back, which is like Maple Treeway, Waluigi Pinball, Coconut Mall, right? Like the highly requested returners. And it's like, so for me, like, yeah, each way is pretty equal. But now that we're halfway through this thing, I look at it as a whole, and I'm like, some of my favorite tracks in the game have now come from this first half of the DLC. I adore Ninja Hideaway. I think that track is phenomenal. I love 3DS Rainbow Road. I love Waluigi Pinball. Having Coconut Mall and Maple Treeway back is great. Like those 5 courses, I'm like, yeah, that is worth the price of admission to this booster course pass alone. And we're only halfway done. So yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah. And it's fun to hop back in. Gives me an excuse because I don't play Mario Kart 8 super often. If I'm with a group of friends, I'll break it out and we'll have some fun. But when I'm by myself, I don't really play it all that often. So it's always nice to have an excuse to hop back in, play the new tracks, and then look forward to when I do have a chance to play with friends to drive some of these new tracks and have fun.
Yeah. 1 year from now, we'll be done with this, and then we'll see.
Have you gotten sick of the same Yoshis and Toads on the side of the tracks again?
Yeah, it's whatever. It's fine. It's like 45 cents a track or something like that.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
I just find it funny that they keep on slapping them in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there's more going on in these tracks than there was in the first wave. Like Toad Circuit is just drab.
Yeah.
Shroom Ridge is drab. I like that course, but the visuals aren't great. But there's more going on here. Yeah, they look better.
Yeah. I think this is a really solid group of tracks.
Yeah.
I'll stand by. I think compared to the other ones, I think the overall quality of all of them put together is the strongest to me. Where I don't think there's any that I'm looking at that I'm like, man, that one was not good. There's a wink link here. It's like, oh yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
And hopefully that bodes well for the rest of the tracks that they come out with, because we still got a lot to go.
Yes, we do. I also love Sky Garden from, I think, the first wave. I love that track. That one really grew on me over time. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a great DLC. It's a lot of fun to have new tracks in Mario Kart after so long.
I'm so glad they didn't just leave Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and then roll along with whatever's going to be coming out for the Switch's successor. I'm glad that they're giving us more content for it, because it reminds me of how much fun Mario Kart is.
Yep.
With these new tracks. Some other news to go through. We've got Xbox. So Sony has been out here charging $70 for their games for a little while now, and Xbox is finally going to be following suit. This is going to be starting next year. They're going to be raising first-party titles to $70. So if you're looking at Starfield, or if you're looking at Redfall, or any of these upcoming Microsoft exclusives, and you're not playing them on Game Pass, $70, which I think makes Game Pass more desirable.
Until that price goes up, which is probably going to happen next year.
Yeah.
Yep. It was inevitable. Now I'm just hoping Nintendo doesn't do the same, because that's the most games that I buy are from there. And
I was thinking about that too, but not only for that, but with Xbox and Sony, the prices are going to go down at a certain point. And Xbox also has Game Pass, which helps out significantly.
Yeah.
Man, with Nintendo, they already are incredibly stingy with their prices. I mean, we're years beyond some of their titles coming out, and you're still looking at $42 or $41 on Black Friday, which is absolutely insane to me. So if we're looking at in 2 years, a world where the Black Friday deal is $50, and that's the lowest that they're going to be going for it, I'm already turned off from buying certain games because they're like 5 or 6 years old, and I'm not that interested to give it a try at like $40-45 or whatever. If they're $10 more, I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, but this is fine, because I really think that most people playing these are going to be Game Pass subscribers. It was kind of inevitable, and $70, it's a lot, but I think it's fair.
Yeah, I think it helps for Microsoft that you do have the option to get it on Game Pass, because with Sony, if for $70, it's just, well, I'm going to be waiting. Sorry, I'm not paying $70 for this. Whereas if you're subscribed to Game Pass, it doesn't really matter, at least not now, because the price hasn't gone up. And hopefully,
Yeah.
if it does, you'll be able to kind of lock in a deal for at least a little while.
Yep.
But I think it is a different situation than it is with Sony, where it's just, if you're not paying $70, you're just not playing it on launch. Whereas here you have another option.
Or just pick up Game Pass for a month if there's something
Right.
coming out that month
Yeah.
you want to play. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's nice that there's workarounds here. Speaking of Microsoft, there's a couple of different things going on. So earlier, they committed to 10 years of Call of Duty on Nintendo if the deal for Activision Blizzard goes through. And then we just got word recently that the FTC is going to be suing the proposed deal between Microsoft and Activision Blizzard. That doesn't mean that the deal isn't going to go through, but it seems like this fight that Microsoft and Sony have been going through over the last year is going to continue forward. But first, on the Call of Duty front, interesting to go to Nintendo and be like, hey, we're going to be giving you Call of Duty for 10 years. We haven't really given you Call of Duty in 10 years, but we'll come
Since
back,
Ghosts on Wii U.
Yeah.
Was the last one. Yeah, the timing of this was just Microsoft saying, hey, we're not a monopoly. We're going to keep this everywhere. Yeah, I don't know what it means for Nintendo platforms, though. Is it like just Warzone, or is it like original games for Switch, or are they going to make a port for Switch, or is this only going to take effect when a more powerful Switch hardware comes out? Like, it could mean anything. Like, I have no idea what to make of that.
10-year commitment
deal.
is all we know is 10 years, some form of COD will be on there in some way, shape, or form, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, they were totally saying this just as like, hey, yeah, push this deal through, and FTC wasn't having it. We do know Xbox is preparing to fight it, so yeah, this could be a long legal battle before we find out if this deal goes through.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on it because on the one hand, I think that Activision Blizzard needs to be under completely new ownership, like that. The executive level of that company is absolutely rotten, and I think on that level, Microsoft could do a whole lot of good to improve just the standing of that company and how they treat their employees and unions and everything like that. But on the other hand, I do very much see where the FTC is coming from. You've already got Microsoft buying Bethesda, one of the big third-party studios, and then going to buy Activision Blizzard. That is a huge chunk of the third-party library that, yes, they say, 10 years, we're going to enter into an agreement, 10 years on Switch, 10 years on PlayStation. But that leaves Xbox wide open in 10 years time to just rip that right away. Because once the deal goes through, what are you going to do? Right.
Yeah.
They could do whatever they want. So I see a lot of good there, but I can also definitely see the side where, when Xbox comes out and says, oh yes, this is going to improve competition, I call massive BS on that. There's no way that you can call that improving competition, because you are just taking the competition and absorbing it into yourself. So
I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know which way it's going to go. I could see it going either way at this point for sure. Yeah.
But we're going to have to keep on waiting. And with these court appearances and these legal battles in the past, we've gotten some interesting insights into certain companies. So I wonder if we're going to be seeing some interesting little tidbits as we go through this legal fight between Microsoft and the FTC.
Yeah.
And then last, a little bit of news, Monster Hunter Rise. It was previously only on Switch, then it came to PC, and now it's coming to other consoles. No cross saves or crossplay, unfortunately.
Devastating.
But it is coming to Game Pass, so I have to ask, are you going to give it a shot if you have Game Pass to see how it runs on Xbox?
Maybe. They didn't release the Series S specs for it. They just said that on Series X and PS5, it runs at 4K 60. If it runs at 60 FPS on Series S, I'll probably try it out, but it's just a shame because Zach and I would both be willing to buy this again on PS5 if we could bring our save over. And then another weird part of this, well, for one, there's no physical release on these platforms, which is kind of lame for Monster Hunter fans who don't have a Switch and want to own this game. And then two, Sunbreak isn't coming out until spring of next year on these other platforms, and which is super bizarre because once the expansion kind of comes out, Capcom really pushes that as the way to buy the game. Like, you buy the bundle pack of the two, you get a bunch of stuff to help you progress through the base game faster to get to the Sunbreak content. But now it's like, no, you're just going to have Rise for 3 months and then Sunbreak, which you're going to have to buy additionally, and you can't bring anything over. It's just like, there's a bunch of weird parts of this announcement that it's like, God, who's this for? I guess it's really only for people who have never played Rise. That's
Who
it.
aren't playing on Switch
Yeah.
and PC, I guess.
Yep.
Is about it. PC, did that already not have cross support either?
It didn't.
So,
Yeah, it didn't earlier this year, which was a shame. But yeah, I'd love to move this game to PS5, but where you can't even begin to can even consider it with a game like Monster Hunter that's 170 hours deep right now.
Yeah, it's not like you can just like hop over and start anew and it's all fine. You could do that, but yeah, you dedicate so much time to games like Monster Hunter that without that, having to do all of that again, especially if the best part of the game isn't there on launch, like you have to go through the base game first before you get to Rise in several months. Like, yeah,
no thanks
for returning players, especially until Sunbreak comes out. I have no idea why they would. They would double dip unless they have a lot of extra time on their hands.
But I do know there's a sect of people that just are still playing World, because I'm in these Facebook groups for Monster Hunter World back when Zach and I were trying to figure out how to play this game. And people in that group are like, I'm not playing Rise unless it comes to PlayStation. So there are those people that are probably very happy about this that are still playing World here 4 years later and are now going to hop over to that.
I guess there is an audience. Just unfortunate that you're not part of it.
It looks great. The trailer looks so good. Yeah, it's already a nice looking Switch game, but it looks really nice on the footage we're seeing for next gen consoles. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, disappointing on that.
Yeah, we're gonna play Wild Hearts a month later.
2. Oh yeah. That showed up at the Game Awards, didn't it?
Looked cool, yeah. It looked cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's it for news. We want to get into a quick what we've been playing before we wrap up. I've just been playing Xenoblade and not even that much. So I have, and Mario Kart, I guess, but we already talked about that. So I have nothing really new to report on my end. What have you been up to, Logan?
Some Pokemon, nothing really new to say that we didn't talk about last time. Mario Kart, Fall Guys new season, which is pretty good. And then Splatoon 3, I'm excited about their big run event this weekend. Which is the Salmon Run, but taking over the normal stages, which is a pretty cool thing. That's totally new to Splatoon 3.
Okay.
That starts tomorrow afternoon. So I'll be talking about that on next week's show.
That's fun.
It's a cool idea.
Give Salmon Run just more maps.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's like a weekend thing like the Splatfest. You earn special rewards for doing it that weekend. And yeah, it looks pretty cool.
I wonder if by the end of the weekend, you're just going to be wanting it to be a permanent change.
That
you can just have more maps to choose from. Because how many base maps are there for Salmon Run?
I think there's 5. They just added one for season 2, which started. Yeah. So it's all right. It's decent. And they changed so much with the water level raising and lowering. Also, it's kind of like each map has like 3 different variations, which keeps it fresh too. And then, I never find myself needing more maps in Salmon Run.
But you're going to be getting them.
Yeah, it's cool. Splatoon is so great.
Have you still not played the Tetris mode?
I have not. I have not touched the card game. I have not even looked at it. Yeah. I want to still, but I just haven't even thought about it when I'm
See how long that continues.
Yep. Yeah, and then that game's probably going to get a story DLC next year with more stuff.
Ooh.
I gotta finish the story. Man, it's packed.
There's no time for anything. Yeah,
nope.
I'm trying to get through Xenoblade. I really want to kind of drop it and go play the Kaito DLC. But then if I do that and then Sports Story just comes out, then I got to drop that and go to Sports Story. So I'm kind of feeling like I just have to bide my time. Like I'm just going to play Xenoblade 3 until Sports Story comes out. And then when that comes out, hop right over to that and then maybe go back to the Kaito DLC. After that, I don't know. I wish I knew when the release date was. It'd make my life so much easier.
Yeah, it would. Let's see if they've tweeted tonight. What time is it over there in Australia right now? It's working hours, I think.
They're around an hour of me. So either 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock when we're recording. Nothing. I mean, they didn't even tweet when the new trailer dropped. They just retweeted Nintendo's tweet. So
they are not fans of social media over there. Yeah, there's nothing. I'm hoping it just pops up tomorrow. That would be awesome.
Make my day.
Yep.
Make my Saturday. Any other final thoughts before we wrap up? That's going to do it for us on this week's episode.
I'm having a Pokemon marathon this weekend, so I will probably
the games
have
or the show.
the game. I'm gonna plow through the game this weekend and probably have it done by next week. I have like 4 more objectives and then whatever the kind of like rush to the end is, which I think is a few hours from what I've heard. So yeah, I think I should be done with it by next week.
Still hideously overleveled?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're gonna get to the Elite Four and just kind of step on them.
Probably.
This isn't going to be a brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl situation.
No, where you actually had
insane level spikes.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. It's a fine game. Arceus is just so much better.
Yeah.
Zach finished Pokemon and liked it.
He did. Yeah. He said the ending section was very good.
So. Yeah, I've heard that too. I've heard that from a lot of people that the ending is actually really cool. So
hear about those thoughts next week.
Yeah.
But that's going to do it for us on this week's episode of Ode to Games. We're here on Thursdays or Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, other podcast streaming services that you may use. At YouTube, at Ode to Games has the video version of the podcast every week, so you can check that out there as well. We're on Twitter at Ode to Games. You can send an email to odegames@gmail.com. For Logan, I'm Kevin. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.